Live. Okay. So it's Keith Kalfas, and I'm actually just on my whiteboard in my basement studio doing some strategy whiteboard stuff because it helps me think things through. And I got really excited. I had this epiphany. It's a time management epiphany. And so I'm like, I have to get this right now and start documenting this before the epiphany leaves me, man. I hope you can see this. And I'm not trying to entertain you. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just literally, I'm like, might as well go live while I do this. So, when you do things that you love, they inspire you and they give you energy. It comes from a source and from a place that is never ending. It's constant abundance. It gives you energy to do it. It doesn't feel like work. But when you do things that you feel like you have to do or that are a chore, they drain your willpower and they suck you dry. And in your life and in your business, you have this pie chart of all these different, forgive me if I'm looking around, we're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and recording at the same time. So if you sleep, you're supposed to sleep 6 to 8 hours a night, preferably 8 hours a night. So there's 24 hours in a day. That's 30% of your life, of your day. So if I were to cut this into 30%, that's like 30%. Okay. Now, if you have to work 8 hours a day, which who works 8 hours a day? Most of us work about 10, 11 hours a day. If you have your own small business, some say, I work 20 hours a day. Well, some people work 12 hours a day. You could probably keep that up for a couple months before you totally burn out in your business. But I'd say, I know my business, let's say 10 hours a day, and 8 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday. That's 58. 63 hours a week, just say 60 hours. So, oh my God, what does that break down per day? How much is that per day? 7 days a week. Is that 8 times 7? So that's 48. 8 times 8. That's 8. Let's just say 8 hours a day. Okay, so that's 8 hours a day working. I need another color here. All right, so I originally saw this pie from a guy named Chris Brady, and it blew my mind. Now, if you're doing what you love to do for a living and it's your life's deepest calling and passion and it wakes you up and inspires you and you want to do it for the rest of your life, that's great. It's not even work, right? If you spend 8 hours a day working, which is another 30%. By the way, if you like this is not even a whiteboard. This is just a big whiteboard I got from Home Depot for like $13. I brought it in my basement. I got some framing nails. I went tack, 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 tack. And now I have a whiteboard for 13 bucks. Do you know how much this would cost if you were to order something this big from Office Depot? I've looked. It's like $400. You should get one and put one right in your living room. So, 30%. Now think about this. You got, how much time does it take you to, pardon my French, but shit, shower, shave, eat, change, cook, clean. Shit, shower, shave, eat, change, cook, clean, do laundry, do the dishes, prepare meals, go grocery shopping, change the oil in your car, fix things, clean the house, deal with family problems and issues and all types of other chaotic bullshit and everything else that's going on in life that drains and sucks your energy. I mean, we could break it down, but like cooking, cleaning, and preparing meals. Might even be more time than that. Using the bathroom and showering and clipping your fingernails and toenails and going and getting your hair cut and brushing your teeth. Hopefully you do that every day, folks. And then, well, you say sitting and scrolling mindlessly on your phone. I think that the reason we scroll on our phones is because we're so fucking drained anyways of energy and just like, so there, you literally can't do anything else. But, okay, all these things and dealing with all the stuff I just talked about. All you have left, and I could take the time and draw all this out, but that would take too long for the sake of this video. Because I'm going to draw this out in two different ways to get perspective. I just had this epiphany. My wife has her business. You see me post it sometimes, and you see on her channel at Ashley Kalfas. It's actually our 8-year wedding anniversary tomorrow, and so I took the day off work, and I'm taking a week off. I'll spend probably 3-4 days with my wife. It's going to be awesome. I'm very happy. We're going to go get dinner, and just hang out. But she's tied up. She's got something going on in her Amazon, her home-based business, and she's a little frustrated right now because something happened that was outside of her control, but she's fixing it right now. But as I witness this third-party observational, unemotionally attached thing has happened to me that triggered the inspiration for this epiphany, and then I'm sharing that with you and documenting this. So you know when things happen in your business and in your life and it's like the emotional needles in your arm, it hijacks you, you respond, the sympathetic nervous system activates, and now all of a sudden you're hijacked. It's like it's got control of you. You can't see the forest for the trees, while somebody else on the outside can just look at you and shrug their shoulders and just see it for what it is. They can see the bottom line. And that's why it's very important to have people around you, your Fab Five, the people around you that can give you perspective. And the more you go through things and the more you work and iron out those processes and put little systems around that, is the more something can happen and it doesn't even bother you anymore because you've expected it. But when I watch the things happen with my wife, and when she has an emotional response because she has all positive 5-star reviews in what she does, she's obsessed with customer service and perfection in her product. She really is a perfectionist. I'm really proud of my wife, but like that's one thing that I don't know if you can teach, and that's something that she has, this articulateness about cleanliness and perfection and fine lines and edges to the point of it's insane. But hey, it's rubbed off on me and helped me a lot too. But I can see when things happen with her that I'm just standing there, and I don't mean to be mean, but like I just don't have any emotion, and she's expressing it to me. And then whenever she's expressing what's going on in her business, I'm like, oh my God, I'm having an epiphany. I start having these epiphanies because now the same things that we go through, you can see somebody else going through in real time right in front of you. And when the observational part of the brain, it's the part of the brain you use like when you're in meditation, you just become the silent observer of your own life. It's like this meditative hypnotic thing happens that I can look at her and all of a sudden get these massive epiphanies about my own life and time management because there's no emotional attachment. It completes the loop and it pulls the needle out of the sympathetic nervous system, the chimp brain that hijacks you and makes you only concerned about survival and mitigating risk, right? Your time perspective slows down, and now you can see the big picture and it's called integrated consciousness. So, but if we go back to this, there's a reason why that this is happening. So if we're primarily concerned with survival and reproduction, and then, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, finally having, in hot pursuit of a passion, a life's mission and a mandate and your life purpose and the things you want to accomplish and the legacy that you want to leave before you die. Well, when you're stuck on the gerbil wheel, this is the gerbil wheel. All this time is taken up in all this stuff. And if we don't have any healthy boundaries and we don't know our life's purpose and mission and mandate, and we haven't mapped that out or had the experiential process of the awakening like the big aha, this little tiny sliver of time that we have left right here. I wish I had a different color marker. I don't. I'll just make it blue. Okay, so it's right here. Yeah, right here. This is like the 2%. So, can you see that? Let me make sure. All right, let me move this so you guys can see it. Okay, there you go. So, this little tiny 2%, I am so sorry, the whole screen might be totally flipped right now on some of you guys. Okay, so you're supposed to live your life's deepest calling and mission and mandate and purpose and change the world. You're supposed to build the multi-million-dollar business that gets to a point where it's residual, where you can go give back and, you know, save the dolphins, save the earth. You can build foundations. You can start charities. You can write your best-selling book or novel. You can take that trip to the Grand Canyon for like a month and just sit on the side of the Grand Canyon and meditate. Whatever your life's deepest passion is. And you're supposed to do all this on 2% of your time, when if you can clearly look, all this is taken. And now what really happens in this little sliver of time is if you spend all your time doing this, your willpower is spent. I took this amazing course by Evan Pagan called Wake Up Productive, and he talks about you only have so much willpower per day. And there's studies shown that there's only about 50 purely productive minutes that you get in each day where you're in a peak. There's circadian and ultradian rhythms, and these rhythms go like this. Circadian rhythm is when you sleep and when you're awake. When you sleep, when you're awake. Sun up, sun down, sun up, sun down. The ultradian rhythms are these micro rhythms that pop up and down during the day. So sometime every day around like 1 o'clock after lunch, some of us get this lull that we go into where we just feel like totally drained for like an hour. Like, oh my God, if there was a bed, I could literally just go straight to sleep sometimes. Well, you're actually supposed to honor these rhythms. And when you do things like drink Monster energy drinks and Red Bulls and slam a bunch of coffee and keep taking all these replacements instead of honoring your biological rhythms, it drives down your willpower more and more and more, and it starts to exhaust your adrenal glands to the point where you're fucking walking zombie. Then by the time like October, November comes, you're like, oh my God, I just want the season to end. And that's why some of these rock star people meditate and eat perfectly clean diets and make sure they get the exact right amount of sleep, and they sleep in perfect darkness, and they do yoga and stretches, and they have perfectly healthy boundaries in their life where they don't let other people's bullshit get in the way. I think that the thing that gives you the reason to become a very structured person with very high levels of aspirations, a high demand on yourself, and high success is that you know your life's mission and mandate and purpose, and you're not confused on it. When you know what your life's purpose is, you get very much clear about everything else. You put everything else on line. It's like you're supposed to put, people say you're supposed to put God first, you know, then your family, then everything else, then your business, then yourself. Well, it's funny that if you do that without spiritual eyes or spiritual thinking, you'll be like, what, I come last? You just end up sick in bed and not get anything. It'll come down like a house of cards. But in spiritual order, there's 7 different laws of truth. The highest is spiritual. There's mental, physical, emotional, there's social truth, there's psycho-emotional truth, psychological truth. There's all these different levels, and spiritual is the highest. So if you order them up in proper prioritization, the spiritual, basically it's top down, okay? So I'm looking at this. God, this is like 8 hours long. So there's this book by, there's like 100 books, but there's this book by Dr. David R. Hawkins called Letting Go, and he talks about surrender. Depending on what perspective or lens you look at it through, you can be the victim or the victor. You could be somebody that looks at life and trying to do all the overwhelming tasks of life as a complete impossibility that drags you down into victimhood, or you can look at it as the greatest blessing of all, that it's the most fun challenge. Life is like some etheric video game that you get to like put on a suit and run through, and have so much fun and love people unequivocally and do all the right things, and everything is a challenge, and it's in your benefit. The universe is designed in your benefit, right? And it all depends on where you vibrate to in the bandwidth of your consciousness. So if you vibrate really low down here, and the low levels of shame and anger and apathy and sadness and depression and guilt and fear and sickness, all those things, you will never be able to get higher up to these aspirational levels that allow you to expand this 2% to like 20% of your time spent on that. And then eventually the highest order of all is when you spend 80% of your time, 80% on your life's mission, mandate, and purpose. So how would you do all this? Well, you would delegate all this. You would systematize your business so you have everybody doing everything for you, and you just do the highest level $1,000 an hour activities. You don't do anything under $1,000 an hour, or at least $100 an hour activities. You delegate, automate, or get rid of everything else. You're sleeping, you would get like the best quality sleep ever. You'd invest in like the best mattress. You'd get blinds that close and black out everything. You'd wear an eye mask and like take a melatonin and make sure you're perfectly hydrated and all these things. And take sleep very intentional. Your diet would be very clean. Maybe you'd have a chef or deliver meals to you. You can do like freshly.com. You would spend money on really nice high quality organic supplements. You drink lots of clean water, and you would take your diet very serious. Because you can see clearly it gives you energy for your life's mission, mandate, and purpose. All the laundry and cooking and cleaning and folding of clothes and all the going to the grocery store, all that shit gets automated. You hire personal assistants for everything. You have people deliver your groceries. You have a person clean your house. You have people do all these things for you because they're less than $100 an hour activities, right? Right? So you can literally clear up, starting with 20%, but you can clear up 80% of all the shit on your schedule. But that's scary, depending on where you're vibrating on the levels of consciousness and how integrated you've become. So, and the only way to raise up through the levels of consciousness and vibrate higher is, well, you can vibrate higher. You can meditate. You can find out your life's mission and purpose. You can pray. You can eat healthy. There's all these different things you can do to give you the edge. But the one most important thing that you can do that all this circles the drain around is cutting the fat. It's literally finding, well, in the 80-20 rule, depending on where you want to start, it's going and cutting out all the negativity and toxicity in your life. If you have horrible addictive patterns, drug abuse, addiction to alcohol, constant consumption of fast food, codependent relationships in your life with friends or family members who also have those addictions that have either they're narcissists or they have actual demonic entities, in my opinion, attached to them that are leaping and arcing onto you and trying to feed off of you and getting to your household. So that's kind of like the woo-woo stuff, but I believe that there are actual demonic entities and demons and things that you have to get right with the Lord and then work on banishing them out of your life and out of your circle, and so they can't come back in. And then when you try to, depending on how you look at this, whether it's spiritual or whether you look at it from a completely scientific perspective, whenever you try to get your shit together and align with truth, what it does is it starts unlocking all these things in the deep levels of your subconscious and then your life, and everything tries to attack you to hold you down. It's like a last ditch effort to keep sucking off you and feeding off you like a battery in the matrix. So as soon as you try to grow and evolve in your personal development and you want to move upward and onward in your life, you want to make more money, you want your business to do better, you want to eat healthier, you want to be happier, you want your relationships to evolve. As soon as you try to get rid of that negative, toxic person in your life or limit the amount of communication, they'll start attacking you or bad-mouthing you or finding ways to it's like the mean sweet cycle, to get in and stab you in the back from behind. Shit starts hitting the fan because the very foundation of the structures and agreements that you have with other people and with yourself starts eroding at the edges, because those structures were built on lies. Does that make sense? The structures, I'm not talking about physical structures, I'm talking about etheric structures, and there's psychological structures. They were built on lies. So if you start changing and now all of a sudden you start evolving and moving upward, people don't know how to deal with you anymore. They can't manipulate you anymore. Their codependent patterns of how they feed or you feed off of them doesn't work. So there's these neuropeptides in your brain. They pump these endorphins and these emotions that whenever you get in a fight with somebody or whenever you trigger somebody or they trigger you, you have these secondary emotional payoffs, and they're like hits of heroin in your veins that force you into these codependent patterns, either with yourself or with other people, that keep you in this pendulum of unnecessary suffering. Even as I talk about it, you hear my voice quivering because it resonates truth. So letting go of all this shit on the bottom, there's two ways to look at this. The first one is there's a beach ball that you're holding underneath the water and you're fighting and you're like holding this thing down, like you finally give up and you let go, and the beach ball pops up to the top and just starts floating buoyantly on top of the water. Why does it do that? Because that's its natural state, is to float, and you're exhausted from holding it down. The second perspective is if you're in a boat and you're going east full speed and you don't want to go east, you want to go west. So you turn the boat around with all your might, and finally the boat turns around, but you get tired and you let go. What does the boat do? It turns, it starts going west again, because that's the way it's programmed. So when you start looking at programming, have you been programmed all the way down to your childhood from the beliefs and patterns of other people that you call 95%ers? Like 95% of the shit you ever learn was a lie, because it came from people that was passed down from generations. So you had these deep structures and micro traumas in your subconscious that are keeping you riding this line of fear just to make it to nowhere. Did my camera shut off? Damn. My camera shut off. The battery died, so I guess I'm here with you guys. Only you. Okay, so what we're talking about now is upgrading your identity, okay? The third perspective of this is there's a boat, or you're holding this anchor. How are you supposed to run full speed and chase your dreams and do these amazing things where you feel like you're flying and everything in your life that you've dreamed of is true now? You're living your dreams, everything is falling into place, and you're literally manifesting with your words. You're out of implementation, working with your muscles all the time just for a meager hourly rate. You've moved up into unification, into management and delegation of other people. You moved up into communication. I got this part from Myron Golden, you can check them out. And then you move into the levels of imagination. They vibrate higher and higher and higher, where you can get more and more and more done, and this wheel spinning by itself with less and less and less effort. It becomes fun. Because you think if I can, here's the objection. You say, if I can barely handle all of the shit I have going on right now, I'm completely overwhelmed. How the hell am I going to take on more? What do you mean expand my business and chase my dreams and do all these things? It's impossible. I would have a breakdown. I would end up in a divorce. I wouldn't get any sleep. I literally, like, you start thinking shit like that, right? But the opposite is actually true, that when you're chasing your life's purpose, things start to fall into place because you vibrate higher, and it actually feels like you're flying now. It feels like you're flying, and it's so fun, right? It's fun. Now, there's like this etheric pair of scissors that are cutting off the anchors. If you look at pranic healing, there's basically all these cords that are attached to you, to your chakras. And it's all these things in life, whether they're in your memories, in your mind, in your traumas, or other people's etheric emotions or energy bodies that are sucking off you, like feeding off you like a battery, keeping you a slave in a lower density field, right? You're in this low This is classic Kalfas right here. This low density field being sucked off of. No wonder you don't have any energy. No wonder you're burned out. You're like, oh my God, this sucks. Because you have the boat anchor. So you got to get in there and cut all those things out and all those cords. And once they all start falling off, you get good at it. And then what do? You start rising up naturally. So it's not about climbing up higher to the top and vibrating higher first. It's about cutting all the dead weight first. Purge. Get rid of old nasty clothes that you don't wear anymore. Throw them all out in the trash. Go through all your cupboards. Get all the junk food. Throw out all the junk food. Go through your relationships and start having difficult conversations with people that you love that drag you down, and putting your foot down and drawing your line in the sand and saying, hey, I love you. You might not say it like this, but I love you, but your behavior is no longer acceptable, and there's going to be new terms. See, that behavior was okay back when you were playing down here, but now that you've upgraded your identity, which means that old identity is no longer you. Take it off and you set it on the shelf, or you take it and you rip it up in little pieces and burn it, and it's gone. Now you are a brand new upgraded person, human being, a brand new man or woman. You walk in faith, you walk in the light, you walk in the spirit and goodness and righteousness and honor and humbleness, and you have a life's mission, a mandate, and a purpose. Why would you let somebody tear you down and cut you down and criticize you? This person who supposedly loves you, if they loved you so much, if they cared about you as much as they said they do, then why, because your emotions are a great indicator, why do you feel the way that you feel when you interact with them? How do you get sucked into an argument? How can you be on your way, literally on the road to the path of your success, in one visit with that person, that family member, that friend, maybe an employee, I don't know. One phone call can mess you up so bad that you don't even know where you were going. Your heart's pounding, you have anxiety, you can't think straight, you feel like this person could be your own mother, it could be your own father, it could be somebody like, you feel like if you go on and you let them go and you rise up into the Hall of Fame, maybe that was a bad way, it's not Hall of Fame, but into the place that you want to be, right? You rise up to become the greatest person that you've wanted to become. Are you letting that person drown to death and die? Are you going to go and drown with them to try to save them? My office is calling me, sorry. So, I have a cousin, my cousin Mike says something interesting. He says, you can love somebody, but you don't have to like them. It's an interesting thing. So you create these new healthy boundaries, it's really the ability to hear no and say no with no residue. And you can identify it, because every time you feel it pulling at you, or you feel this thing rise up, if you avoid it and you stick your head in the sand, that means you need more learning. But if you don't avoid it and you address it and have the difficult conversation, then you and that other person get to grow together or grow apart, whatever. But your purpose, part of your purpose, I know for a fact, is evolution, to evolve, right? This is so good. Essential water. 33 different sources of water were tested with 17 different tests, and this was the best one. All right, so I'm going to get back to the second part of this. Can you see this? So here's your day. So now I'm going to quantify it. I'm going to quantify it. Kalfas is going to quantify it. Because how can you believe something that's all theory? You know it's true. But if you're an analytic, it has to be quantified. You need the data. You need to back it up. I see all your comments, by the way. I see all your comments. Okay. Ready? You wake up in the morning. I don't know what time you wake up, 6, 7, 8. Some people wake up at 5. But let's say you go to bed at, I don't know, what time you go to bed, 10, 11, 12? If you wake up in the morning and you're rushing around, getting ready to start the day, to get the crew ready, to launch your crews out, get your business going, head off to your job. You work all day, take a lunch, try to manage a whole bunch of things. By the time you actually get off work somewhere over here, you've literally just spent, you actually spent 30% of your day sleeping and then waking up and then running off to work. By the time you actually get home, shit, shower, shave, eat, change, cook, clean, do laundry, grocery shopping, dinner, cook, clean, brush your teeth, do all these things you have to do, deal with family dramas and organizing and cleaning and taking out the trash. You have this little tiny sliver of time right here in your whole day. It's not supposed to be this way. You're supposed to live your dreams on this little tiny sliver. I mean, I think that we're very fortunate to live the way that we live at the time that we live in. But that's very interesting, that little tiny sliver. Because all the time is, so here's, and from my perspective in my life, my business is going great. We're booked out, we're always booked out like 2 months now. And I love my service business, my landscaping business. I love it. Like, it's a game to me now. It's fun. I used to hate it. It used to depress the hell out of me, but now it's fun again. Go perspective, right? But I love making these types of videos. I can't point all 3 cameras over there, but I have all these plans all in whiteboards all over my studio here. With sticky notes and all different colors and all these things that I want to achieve and get done. Very excited about these things. But sometimes I get really frustrated and I go, how come I'm not getting all these things done? I have so many things I want to do in my life. Well, no wonder. If you're doing all these things every single day that aren't aligned with your dreams, then there's only one reason that you wouldn't do it. Because something on a lower vibration is holding you down and holding you back. It's some conscious or unconscious fear that the provisions won't come. That the provisions won't come. So I'll share with you a personal challenge I'm having. The provisions have come for me. That means I'm making, did you say Agenda 21? Don't talk about Agenda 21 right now, folks. Hey, somebody just mentioned Agenda 21, and we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram right now. I'm 37, and I want to say that way back in 2006, 7, and 8, I religiously watched this guy named Alex Jones on YouTube. I listened to his podcast every single day for 3 hours a day for 2 years straight. And he's the guy who got kicked off social media, and a lot of stuff that he says is true about all the bad things that are going on in the world right now. And there are some horrifying things happening on this planet that I can't even believe that it's happening, right? And just because you're a good person and you can't even conceive yourself to be a bad person doesn't mean that there aren't completely evil, vile, wicked people out there, right? Just because you're good or you wouldn't steal from somebody doesn't mean that somebody else isn't that way. That's just sticking your head in the sand, right? There's an entire bandwidth of possibilities. But anyways, I watched this Alex Jones guy all the time, and I was so freaked out in my mid-20s that I was sleeping with a shotgun. No, I wasn't, but I had one in the closet, man. I had water underneath the steps, food, and I was looking out the windows in the middle of the night. I thought they were spraying chemtrails on us, and I'm not saying that any of this isn't true. But I legit went so deep down the rabbit hole, I was terrified that there was aliens underground, man. There was magneto trains going coast to coast, and they were doing all sorts of bad things. And a lot of stuff I'm not going to elaborate here. But I went down the conspiracy rabbit hole so deep that even though that a percentage of that stuff was true, I thought that I want to say on social media, I thought they were coming to get us and take us all away and get rid of us all, depopulate us all, right? This was 14 years ago. They've been talking about all this stuff happening constantly for the past 15, 20, 25 years, nonstop. And there's people on the internet saying, it's going to happen. This is the year. We're all going to die. They're going to inoculate us. They're going to kill us. And I'm not saying that there aren't people that are planning on doing all. There are sick, disgusting people on this planet right now that want all that shit to happen. But all I want to say is that fear 14 years ago, none of that shit ever happened. And I spent so much time obsessing in fear over it for like 3 years straight that I was having a breakdown and I couldn't even think about chasing my dreams because it was rooted in so much fear. And you know what happened? 3, 4, 5 years went by and none of the shit ever happened. The economy got great again. Everything turned around. All these people were becoming successful. And I was like, I don't understand. We're all supposed to be vaccinated to death. And this was back in 2008 and 9. None of it ever happened. And I'm really upset that I listened to every single word that Alex Jones guy said. And when I was listening to all these crazy ass podcasts and all these conspiracy theories, which are conspiracy realities, right? But I was really pissed off that I was so obsessed about something that I had no fucking control over, that I was letting ruin my life. And I don't know, I think if you do try to spend your life, it might be your mission to go against these people. Go for it. If that's your mission, you should do that. But if it's not your mission, I don't know what you can do. But I'm not trying to, but all I want to say is that shit's rooted in a really low vibration. And there is one thing that you can do for sure. And it's up here, and it's love. Love. You can live fully, you can love openly, you can love unequivocally and unconditionally. Well, I don't know about unconditionally, but you can love. You can love yourself, you can love your life, you can love others, you can love your business. You can take care of other people in your circle of influence, and you can be the best man or woman that you can possibly be within your life to give others hope and inspiration and be a source of courage and positivity. You can do all that stuff. And when you control on your circle, focus on your circle expands, right? Because I'll tell you one thing, if you're down here in the low vibrations and you're always concerned about the world falling apart, it's very, very hard to get control of your life. But if you focus on the good, it's a lot easier because it's all about vibration. So if your day goes by like this, you're sleeping, you're getting up, you're trying to live your life on this little tiny sliver, like I was talking about right here. One more thing I want to say. The reason I have all this energy right now, and I'm able to even make this, do all this right now in this moment, is because I didn't go to work today. I have like 15 more missed calls in the last hour from landscaping clients wanting quotes, wanting proposals, jobs I could be on right now, people to be delegating to. And I actually said, Keith is going to take the day off or do whatever Keith wants to do today. Keith's going to get some sleep. Keith's going to wake up and have a nice cup of coffee and just do Keith today. And I'll tell you one other thing. When you're spending the day running around pleasing everybody else, whether it be your clients or taking care of an entire business and doing all these things, how in the hell at the end of the day, unless that's what you love doing, but how are you going to have enough capacity and emotion and willpower to now spend an extra 4 to 5 hours doing something that just jazzes you up and fires you up? I really think that it's about reorienting your priorities around your life's mission, mandate, and purpose. So then everything else becomes in much more clarity and perspective. I've been having this, my phone keeps ringing, sorry, argument with my wife for like 5 years now. about saving money versus getting groceries delivered, or saving money versus having somebody come and clean our house, or come and clean the floors and clean the carpets and clean the tile and deliver the groceries and do everything. And she's like, are you kidding me? That's a waste of money. I'll just do it. I'm like, no, you're not going to do it. You're busy. We've upgraded. We're at a whole new level now. Like we're not living in the 1-bedroom apartment anymore. And what got you here won't get you there. I could go on for an hour about this. I'm gonna get out of here. I have this epiphany. This is about faith and taking a risk. The provisions will come, and I'm out of here. Thank you. Yeah, I'm live. Watch what you say.
Oh, I was gonna see if you could help me move the fire pit.
Help you move the fire pit?